American Muscle is a symbol of the strength of the people of this country, the strength they exhibit when they stand together as one and decide to act as one and to overcome all types of obstacles and difficulties. Because in the history of this country, there's never been anything presented to us that as a people we cannot overcome. So even though it's not perfect, we have our differences and we have our fights and our feuds, when we come together in unity, there's nothing like America. And that's what I try to put forth through the music, is the strength of its people. Well, it's like the old folks used to say, kinfolk. It's like, you read it on your money all the time. E pluribus unum, out of many, one. And that's what America is. You may come from another country, you may be born here, but once you are here, you are an American. And all of these different cultures and racial constructs and all of these different things come together and we become like a family. And we take a little from here and a little from there, and it just blends together. It's just like when you get married to somebody, your aunt marries somebody, he becomes your family. He's not someone outside of your family, he becomes part of it. And that's the beauty of America, because you can come from anywhere in the world and be an American. But it doesn't work like that anywhere else anymore. In my view, it's strong, but it's just not as focused. We have so many people who want to divide us on racial lines and political lines and different types of things that are not productive for us as a people. When we have so many real problems facing us, it seems like some people feel that there's profit to be made from keeping us divided. Now, when I look at the young people, the millennials, and people who are working through social networks and they're activists, and I see that activism is coursing through their veins, and I see them working, I see them posting, I see them actually getting out and doing things. I only wish that others would join in instead of try to criticize and knock down what they're doing, to try to find a way for them to become activists, for them to take on issues that they feel is important, and to bring it to the rest of the American people so that we can join in and we can address these issues rather than taking sides and trying to fight about who's right or who's wrong, rather than trying to find a solution to the problem, not seek political or moral high ground. Take 2 steps, I fall again. See me a Purple Heart, and then they send me home. When I look at people who are against American Muscle, I think about people who want you to use your energy in a negative way. They're not wanting you to do something, they want you to stop something. And that is the antithesis of American Muscle. This country is not about destruction. Even though we have the most powerful military in the world, we're trying to build. That's what this process is. That's why we are the melting pot. That's why we have so many different foods and so many different traditions that are all considered American traditions, because we build them together and we unify them. It's a fabric that's woven. And when I see people who try to say, oh, well, he's different from you because he's a liberal, or he's a conservative, or he's a Christian, or he's an atheist, looking for the points of separation, that's the people who are against American Muscle. Those are the people who don't want us to stand together and fight the wrongs, to make things right that may have been overlooked, that may not be addressed by our political structure, by our legal system. There's so many shortcomings that need to be addressed, and the people who would rather you fight over black and white, black and brown, Jew or Gentile, Republican or Democrat, those are the people who are truly against American Muscle. I don't think people desire to get sidetracked, but there's things to be gained by other people by sidetracking. You have to understand that some of our problems are profitable. for some people. Some of the things that are wrong with this country puts money in other people's pockets. And so it is in their interest to keep us divided on those issues. Because as long as we stay divided on those issues, they can continue to make money. The perfect example is the environment. The world is given to us. We are supposed to be good stewards. If we destroy this planet, nothing means anything. All of the other little things that we bicker about means nothing. And we have a majority, not a small majority, not a 50% majority, not an 80% or 90%. We're talking about above 95% of climatologists are telling us that climate change is real. But we have a minority in this country who have a disproportionate amount of the wealth that pay politicians, they pay for their own scientific studies, and they feed you this line that, oh, well, we don't know and we're not sure, and they want to put a question mark around what you know is happening. We all live on this planet. We all see the changes that are taking place. But we have people who have a vested interest to keep us divided on this issue as they continue to profit from it. But ultimately, there is no profit in the destruction of the planet. Well, we talk about the recession, what's called the Great Recession, and how people who worked hard all of their lives lost their pensions, they lost their jobs, and they lost their purpose. And a lot of them lost their pride. And yet they persevered through it to continue to work, to continue to provide for their families. And we just look at that dynamic to say, now that we are recovering from this recession, the people who lost the most, who failed the farthest, are receiving the smallest portion of the recovery. The largest part of the recovery is going to the people who in some cases actually caused the recession itself. So we look at that, we look at addiction to pain prescription pills, and we think about how this society has become a prescription society. If something's wrong with you, go see a doctor, they'll write you a prescription. Anything from depression to erectile dysfunction, whatever you can name, something's wrong with you, we'll just write you a prescription. And we're surprised and shocked when people become dependent on pills and it becomes a habit. But we're reinforcing this thought in their mind that, well, if something's wrong with you, we can give you a pill for that. Pills can't fix everything. We have to look within ourselves and look amongst ourselves to find strength and support. We talk about our soldiers who went over and fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and different theaters throughout the world who have been wounded and killed and come back home with PTSD and all types of issues, and how they're not being provided for properly. How backs are being turned on them, the struggles that they go through, the things that they have to overcome, and they're not receiving the proper support. It's different if you hear people say, yeah, we support the troops, we love you. And on Veterans Day, they fly their flags and they talk about all these people. But if you're a veteran coming back from a war and you defended my freedom, you defended my liberty, Veterans Day should be every day. Every day I should want to know that you're being taken care of, that you're okay. Because you're the reason that I'm okay. You're the reason that I can still do the things that I want to do within this country. And it's like we have this news cycle that puts things out and they build it into a big show. And then once the lights go down, everybody forgets about the people who are actually playing in this real life drama. You forget about that guy that you seen that's getting fitted for a prosthetic. He still has to learn how to walk on that prosthetic. He still has issues with soreness, with refitting, trying to fit back into society. Those guys that you see that come back and you give them these flags and you salute them and you say, hey, it's great for you to be back. They still got to go out and find jobs and feed their families. You know, I mean, there's so many things that as a people we can address and we can make right. But as I said, there are certain entities who feel it more profitable to keep us divided. I talk about domestic abuse, spousal abuse, and abuse of children, because it seems like we've forgotten that you cannot take advantage of the least among us. You cannot allow people to prey on the weak, to prey upon women and children. And we also have to address the violence that we perpetuate in our culture of what we consider to be a man. What's a man? You're a manly man. I mean, what does that really mean? You know, what is our definition of manhood? Is it that you provide for your children, that you set a proper example, that you show them not only strength of body, but strength of mind and spirit, that you show them how to be, if you show your son how to properly lead a family, not that you can dominate someone with your physical strength. And maddeningly, so many people take the opposite side of the argument just to be contrarian, just to try to say, oh, we're making everything girly. It's not about being. It's not an either or choice. You can have both. You can be a strong, virile, manly man and still be kind and gentle to your wife and children. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you less of a man because you choose to talk instead of fight, to think instead of act. And you see it played out all throughout our culture. We criticize our president. Oh, he's not acting fast enough. What do you mean? I mean, he's dropping bombs that's killing thousands of people. Don't you think he should think that through a little bit? I mean, everything can't be reflexive. We have to be more, I don't want to use the word intellectual, but we have to think and soul search more before we act and not be such a reactionary culture. And we also need to find a way to be more patient as a people. It seems like as much information as we get from the internet, that everybody expects everything to be instant. Something happens, they want a result. And that's just not the way the world works. It might work like that online, where you click a button and what you want pops up on your screen. But in the real world, things take time. They take time to come to fruition. And these are the things as a people that we need to have a dialogue about. We need to talk about these things. We need to find common ground so that we can move this country forward and that we can pull our people back together. This is the most unique, beautiful place on earth. You know, it's like Eden, and we don't want to ruin that. Well, what's next for American Muscle is we want to release the project, but I want to release it in a way that inspires people to become active. I want to donate more than half of the proceeds from the project to select charities. And I don't just want to send money to the charities. I want people who actually purchase the album to become active in a charity that they feel is important to them. And I also want their feedback so that I can keep creating new material. I don't want this just to be about me because, like I said, it's American Muscle, e pluribus unum. I want my fans and the people who listen to American Muscle to give us feedback, to tell us, what do you think should be addressed? What do you think is important? And we can build from there because we all we got. There's nobody else that's going to come save America. The world waits for America to come and save it. So if we're not going to pick it up and do what needs to be done, nobody else will. Well, if you want to get in touch with American Muscle, you can send an email to mr.toledosir at yahoo.com. That's mr.toledosir at yahoo. or you can get in touch with my main man, Baye Perry. They have all the information for you.
Next week, oh yeah,
Peace.
I ain't doing